What's going on, hipsters and hepcats? This is the Blue Review. Today we're talking about Rambo, I don't know, what the fuck is this? It just says Stallone, Rambo. I guess the Rambo original series collection. I mean, it doesn't really have a sub-name on it. Anyways, the collection of the first three Rambo films from Lionsgate, as you can see there. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this release on the internet, primarily because of its price tag. This literally is one of the most affordable Blu-ray sets that I've come across that is actually worth buying. There's actually some by, I believe, Echo Bridge that are releasing ultra cheap Blu-ray discs, but this one is a really, really great release, and I can't recommend it enough. So it comes in this neat little box, but what's really great about it is you get the discs individually, and so that's really nice. The first one in the series is this, First Blood. Now, First Blood was a kind of a serious look at how veterans were treated when they returned home from Vietnam, and it's basically the story of John Rambo, who was a military specialist who comes to Oregon to visit his friend, not knowing that he had passed away. I believe his body was riddled with cancer, and he comes to see his friend because all the people in his company have died over the years, either in Vietnam or since they come home, and this is supposed to be the last guy, and he's dead as well. So on sort of wandering back through town to make his way to wherever the hell Rambo's going, he runs into this sheriff played by Brian Dennehy, who's like, listen, we don't want your kind around here, just move on, you can move to the next town and let them deal with it. And this sort of pisses Rambo off, which is kind of like, hey, I'm an American, I should be able to go and eat and do whatever the fuck I want, and who the hell are you to tell me what to do? And so he decides, I'm going back into town, I'm not going to walk 60 miles or whatever the hell it is just to get a sandwich, and I can just walk right back in town and get a sandwich and move my ass along. Well, this pisses off Brian Dennehy, who decides to push his power, and he locks Rambo up, and then they start hosing him down and beating him and stuff, which triggers something in Rambo. He flips, goes crazy, and starts killing people. It's a little bit more in depth than that. It's sort of like they trained him to be the ultimate killer, and then they became his enemy. So yeah, and then he makes his way out into this like wooded area, and just starts taking them down one by one, and it's a really awesome movie, and you should really go check it out. It's from a novel by writer David Morrell, who also has an audio commentary track on this, as well as Sylvester Stallone. And Stallone was one of the three writers of this disc, of this movie. If you look back here on the credits where it says screenplay by, if you ever want to know what this means when you look at it, if there are three names that are separated where it says this guy, comma, this guy, and the last guy, that means all three of them wrote the script together. If you see one that says this guy, and then you have, I think that's called, I don't remember what it's called, like an ellipses or something, I don't know. But anyways, you see like the @ sign, and then you see like the next name, and then followed by the actual word and. You see that? And another guy. What that means is that there was a script originally written by these two guys, which would be Michael Kozol and William Sackham. Those two guys wrote the original script for First Blood. When Sylvester Stallone came on board, he then rewrote their script, but he didn't change it enough that he got total writing credit for it, but he changed it enough that he also got writing credit on it, which is what that means, little and. It means that there was a third writer, like these two guys wrote it together, and then Stallone came on later on. This is a really good movie. The transfer for this one is 900 times better than the DVD, but for Blu-ray, it's just okay. I mean, I'm not disappointed in it. I would still recommend people to go out and get it. But it's just not like blowing you out of the water. I thought it was good, but not great. Up next is Rambo First Blood Part 2. This literally is one of the most action-packed, explosion-filled movies that you will ever see in your life. At one point, they even blow up a fucking waterfall. I mean, at what point was the director going, you know what, the waterfall is mocking me, blow it up. Actually, he has a Greek accent, but whatever. Literally, anything that can blow up, blows up. Anything that can be shot, can be shot. At one point on the special features of this, on the We Get to Win This Time documentary, Stallone says, hey, they said this was a violent movie, but I just think it's a war picture. One man with the weapon killing another man with the weapon. What he fails to mention is that the other man has a single-shot pistol firing at Rambo well out of range, while Rambo has an explosion-tipped arrow. If Rambo gets hit, he's got a bullet wound. You can live from a bullet wound. If the other guy gets hit, he fucking explodes. You can't survive from being exploded, I don't think. This movie has so much action and violence in it and things that it almost borders on cartoonish, but in this type of movie, that's exactly what you want. That's what you're looking for. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, when you sit down to watch one of these type of movies, particularly these 80s kind of action pictures, that's what you're looking for. That's what endears them. It's also got a love story in it. Basically, Rambo is in like a prison, like one of them old-timey prisons where they like break rock and shit. Like a rock quarry prison. And he gets an assignment that will get him out of prison if he'll go back into Vietnam and check to make sure there's no, MIA POWs left behind. And he gets back there, and this woman, this like Vietnamese woman, is his tour guide. They end up falling in love. And then when he finds some POWs, the like guy who was leading the mission freaks out and like, oh shit, those weren't supposed to be there. And then, leaves his ass there, which pisses Rambo off. And then they kill Rambo's girlfriend, which incites him to no end. And then shit starts blowing up. That's pretty much all you need to know about Rambo. Some shit is going to blow up, and a lot of it does. Now, this is an awesome movie, and I thought the transfer was fantastic on this. It's definitely a 4-star release. You should run out and pick up Rambo First Blood Part 2. Finally in the box set is Rambo 3. Technically, I guess this should be First Blood Part 3, but it's just called Rambo 3. This movie, the one thing you have to ask yourself is, how do you top a movie like First Blood Part 2? I mean, how do you top it? I mean, there's so much action and so much explosions. It's impossible. Actually, it's kind of not, because this movie has 10 times more explosion. This movie had so many people get blown up and shot and killed that it actually made its way into the Guinness Book of World Records as one of the most violent films of all time. Thing that you didn't think were going to blow up, blows up. It's basically Rambo gets another assignment, and this time his buddy, played by Richard Crenna, Sam Troutman, gets captured while going on a secret mission to run guns to the Afghanis to fight off the Russians. And so Troutman gets kidnapped, and then of course that pisses off Rambo, and Rambo goes in, and they're like, hey man, you need a fucking army, and he's like, I don't need nobody, I'm going in alone, and then blows the fuck out of this like fort, and people are like, no, it's not impossible, it's just one man. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm your fucking worst nightmare, because I'll fucking kill you. There is so much action and violence and over the top in this that it literally, at times, it is cartoonish. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, it's a little cartoonish. The problem with this movie is that it would be one of the greatest action movies of the 80s if it were about 12 minutes shorter. The 12 minutes really hurt this film, and it literally, out of all 4 movies, it is definitely the longest. At 142 minutes, or at an hour and 42 minutes, it's just way too long. Rambo movies at best need to be 90, 91 minutes. More than that, and it's too much. So you cut out 12 minutes of this movie, and bam, fantastic. So Stallone should go back, cut out 12 minutes of this, and you would have an amazing action film. Out of all of them, this one I think has the best transfer out of the original three. I liked Rambo 3 a lot when I saw it. I just watched it last night, and I still like it. I still think it's a good movie. And the best part about this set, as I know a lot of people have talked about before, is that it's not very expensive. It doesn't boast a huge amount of special features, but it has most of them, and a lot, about mainly the same as the Ultimate Editions that Ariston released a couple of years ago, but of course Ariston got bought out by Lionsgate. So these are definitely worth it. They all have decent transfers, and they all have audio commentary on them. Of course, for Rambo, they're older audio commentaries. Again, basically they just ported over everything from the Ultimate Collector's set of Rambo that you can get, like all 5 movies for all 3 movies for $15. This is about $30 at Walmart, and I definitely think it's worth it. It's a huge improvement over the DVDs, and y'all should run out and pick that up. It's Stallone, Rambo, First Blood, Rambo First Blood Part 2, and Rambo 3 from Lionsgate.